Good morning, folks. Would-be farmer here in Central Florida. As most of you know, we're halfway between Orlando and Jacksonville. You will often hear permaculture teachers, sustainability experts talk about water and water harvesting. Well, I would like to talk about something a little bit different that concerns water, and that is when you have an abundance of water, what do? I know this won't appeal as much to drylands people, but there certainly are times when water is directed in a way that just is not getting along with our settlements. Whether somebody originally put a building in the wrong spot or whether it's seasonal flooding, there are times when we have to control rainwater, stormwater. So let me show you what we experience here in Florida, Central Florida. We get about 50 inches of rain per year. Of course, it varies. Who knows what's going to happen eventually? Each year is different, but around 50 inches a year, and sometimes we'll get 4 or 5 inches in a few hours, a couple hours. This is the north area of our house. You can see here a little bit of moss on the cement there. When we got here, we had a substantial issue with water here. Well, so what were we supposed to do? It is a wet area of the house. The way the house is situated and the slope, water was naturally going to come down the driveway. We have a sand and clay driveway, and it was going to come right into this area, right into the front door. So that was an engineering error, perhaps, most definitely. This could have been the best place to put this house in 1950. It may have been, but they still didn't account for that issue, and that's okay. What we did, dug out this area right in here, and I took a lot of plastic piping, PVC, that was thrown in the woods. Sometimes humans don't do a really good job of properly placing items they no longer require, they no longer use, excess from a project or whatnot. So I pulled a lot of those out of the woods, hence repurposing and cleaning up the woods a little bit. So I would make kind of a French drain situation here, and these pipes would pull some of the water down. I had some of the pipes perforated, guiding the water down this way. Also, in with the pipes, I put a lot of broken brick, old what I call urbanite, cement or cinder blocks. Put those in there as well, some gravel, to try to help pull some of this water down this way, downhill, towards a wetland all the way in the back. So that's one of the things we did. And obviously we raised, oh, say hi to Toby, by the way. Toby, you're facing the wrong way if you want to be a star. Toby. No, your ears are bad too? It's this way. Okay, whatever. We gave ourselves a little drawbridge, I suppose, so we could step into the house there and get some of the water off our feet. Another thing we did to help the situation, so I dug out this area pretty well here, dug out this area, planted a bunch of trees, a bunch of plants. Banana and papaya are in there. Certainly they're gonna enjoy the extra moisture. And I took some wood, fallen branches and sizable logs that were the result of Hurricane Irma, and I built that around here into a nice berm. So it was kind of like a catcher's mitt for those of you who are familiar with baseball, American baseball, catcher's mitt. Water was coming down this way, and now hopefully a good bit of it will sit in there and get absorbed. Roots of these plants that need the water will absorb them, and it'll act as a catchment, if that makes sense. We also put in a fence, and anybody who's studied zones and ecotones and margins, edges, will know that there are going to be quite a few species that like the fence. They're going to vine up. I planted some vining specimens here as well. Most of them you wouldn't see right now. It's the wrong time of the year for them. But they'll start climbing up there, and the roots of all the trees that inhabit this area are going to absorb moisture and water as well. Not to mention, anytime you provide somewhat of a barrier here, we're going to have sticks and twigs and leaves that accumulate along the bottom of the fence, and that's going to help to slow down a little bit of water as well. Overall, we brought in, lost count, it's between 16 and 20 dump truck loads full of wood chips. And that helps quite a bit. And whenever we do a path, a driveway or whatnot, if it's not on contour, it is going to facilitate floodwaters. And certainly sand and clay, a sand and clay road with wood chips is going to be quite different than a 4-lane highway that is paved as far as facilitating erosion and the flow of stormwater, of rainwater. We're just sending the water off our property when we do that, sending it somewhere else, and that increases floods unnaturally. So that is another thing we did. Also realized, as we'll come up here to the east side of the property, the front, and also our sand and clay road that is maintained by the county somewhat slants into our property as well, into the land we steward. Not a big fan of the term property. I don't like the ownership thing. I understand the terrain in which we are deployed. But anyway, enough of that. That's another video. So water would come down here, hit the drive, would accumulate here as well, and then it would pour over. So this wasn't here when we arrived. So I built a little fenced area around some banana plants, some musa, and some papaya. And I threw a bunch of other seeds in there. There's some vining legumes, lab hyacinth bean I put in there, and a few others. And of course, natives are jumping in there. So their root systems, those plants are going to absorb some of the water as well. Let this go a little bit native area here. Lots of wood chips. That's going to absorb it. And also, just in front of Toby there, just north of Toby, I dug out a little canal ridge, swale, if you will. Took the earth, piled it up here, and then put some banana plants and some other plants there as well. So this water now, instead of coming out here, hitting the driveway, going down and headed towards the house, a lot of this water is going to run down here. Water will be absorbed by the plants in this area. I'm going to head down this way. The ridge goes all the way on the side of the driveway, and it'll carry a lot of the water there. So I know the lighting isn't fantastic here right now. I'll try to get in a spot where I can bid you all adieu. Anyway, so that's how we decided to handle the water issues, and it's been much, much better. So I'll be signing off, and remember, a little bit more me. No, I'm sorry, a little bit more we, a little bit less me, and try to mix in a little more Mother Nature with Father God, and I think we can handle things better. So that's it. Arrivederci. Ciao.